Okay, so I'm making this video not on the TikTok app, but just on my phone. I'm going to upload the entire video to my YouTube account. I don't know how much of it I'm going to be able to upload to TikTok, in that I don't know if I have 10-minute videos on TikTok. Also, I don't know if this rant is going to be able to be contained in less than 10 minutes. So, go to my YouTube channel, buttons in my bio as usual, and watch the video in its entirety if you want. If you don't, I get it. It's cool. It's early in the morning on Tuesday, June 28th, and I'm having an argument for the last couple of days with far leftists on TikTok. Now, we disagree on this particular subject matter, the burn it down and eat the rich subject matter, but we still agree on many other things. Many of you might have seen my argument with Asa Coe. I like Asa Coe. I like his content. I was a little taken aback when he told me to go fuck myself because he disagreed with me on a piece of content, but to each their own. I can't get him to agree with me or see my point, given his passion for his position. So be it. And if he doesn't want to be mutuals anymore, he doesn't want to be mutuals anymore. There's nothing I can do about it. But I'm going to have this discussion on this video. And I'm going to tell you where I stand on this stuff, okay? First thing I'm going to tell you is the whole burn it down and eat the rich mantra, in my opinion, plays into the right's hand, right? The right are trying to portray anybody on the left side of the aisle as the people that you saw in those couple of city blocks in Portland, right? Anarchists looking to burn the fucking things, the buildings to the fucking ground, living in their own shit, not listening to any kind of law and order in any way, shape, or form. And that is simply not the case. I understand that the system is rigged. I understand that the system is difficult to work within. Okay? And I understand that the system is designed to benefit rich white men. But that does not mean that you cannot work within the system, right? I'm a white man, but I was born into a dirt poor family. I mean, go to bed hungry more than a few nights a week because we didn't have enough food, dirt poor. Living in a 2-bedroom hovel that the wind blew through during the winter months, kind of dirt poor. Never having any new clothes unless your family members bought them for you at Christmas, dirt poor. Living on government assistance, dirt poor. I brought myself out of it, but Tom, you're a white man. Yes, those advantages do help. I was also dirt poor. And by all intents and purposes, the rich should have never given me an opportunity. But I went to work and made something of myself. I didn't sit around feeling sorry for myself talking about how I wanted to burn the whole fucking system to the ground. I'm talking about the people who are having an argument with me, not the women who just lost their rights from the Supreme Court. We're going to get into all of that as this video progresses. I got up and went to work and made something of myself and changed my lot in life for myself. And before you tell me that that can't be done for everybody because they're looking to oppress this, that, or the other, if the system could not be worked within, black people would still be slaves, women still wouldn't have the right to vote, and gay people still wouldn't have the right to get married. But people who band together and fight for their freedoms can and do enact change, even in a corrupt system like this. You know it to be true because you've seen it get done over and over and over again. What everybody's arguing about right now, the loss of freedom for people who can have children in this country, is being discussed because, once again, we lost the freedom that we had, right? People who could have children lost that freedom. That means that freedom was there at one point in time, which means the system can be changed from within. But over the years, we keep having these spikes in well, no, the system can't be worked within. We need to get a whole new system. You guys think you're going to live in some communistic utopia. That's not going to be the case. It's never going to fucking happen. If communism was the answer, there would be a shitload of successful communist nations out there. And I don't mean nations that are partially communistic or partially socialistic. I mean true communistic nations where there is no government controlling the lever of powers and everybody owns everything equally and everybody shares in everything equally. That doesn't fucking exist. And it's not going to exist. Meanwhile, while the people who are bitching and moaning about their lot in life, bitching and moaning that everything needs to be burned to the fucking ground and the rich need to be eaten, they keep spinning their fucking wheels talking about the same shit, election cycle after election cycle after election cycle, while other people are actually working to change the system from within. Do I think the Democratic Party is the be-all, end-all? Not even fucking close. Both major parties, the Democrat and the Republican Party, are interested in money and power first and foremost. I'm not so fucking blind that I can't see that. But I'm also not so fucking blind that I can't see that only one of those two parties, the Democratic Party, is actually trying to get a living wage for Americans, is actually trying to expand and protect Americans' right to vote, is actually trying to make sure that an education, a post-high school education, is affordable for people in this country, is actually trying to make sure that women's rights are protected, gay people's rights are protected, and that we don't have a Supreme Court that strips rights away from people like we just had. But the irony in all of it is that the same people that are bitching about their rights being taken away, the same people that are bitching about the system not working for them, the same people that are bitching about the system needing to be burned to the ground are the ones who allowed the fascists to get into power in the first fucking place because they couldn't stand Hillary. Oh my God, she's a corporate dem. Can you believe it? She believes in capitalism. We can't vote for her. Can you believe it? She's a war hawk. We can't vote for her. Can you believe it? She didn't come to Michigan. We can't vote for her. So what did you allow to happen? You allowed a fascist like Donald Trump to take hold. Was that the better alternative? Because now you see what Donald Trump has done. He's appointed 3 of the Supreme Court justices that wound up making the difference in this Roe case. Dobbs case, the case that overturned Roe. And now they're going to go after gay rights and contraception and sodomy and everything else that they think is wrong with this country. Because the group of people that bitch about the system the most allowed the very worst people in our country to take over the system and make the system even worse. One of my best friends in life, ever, a gentleman by the name of Jimmy. And when I say Jimmy and I were like this, I mean Jimmy and I were like this. Lived together in a tent on the road, seeing the countryside. Been in more situations with Jimmy than I can even begin to count. And Jimmy came up in a family that had more money than I did. Jimmy came up in a family with a father who was a union electrician, I guess middle or upper middle class family in the near west suburbs that didn't go to bed hungry, that had the things that families crave for their kids growing up. But then Jimmy made some stupid decisions. Jimmy decided to get drunk and drive home after the Bulls. I don't know why I thought I could put my arm up there. This fucking chair just doesn't allow that. Jimmy decided to get drunk and drive home after the Bulls' first victory, and he got himself a DUI. And it kind of steamrolled after that. Because then he didn't show up to court, and he got another DUI, and he didn't show up to court, and then he got a few more issues, and then he never paid his child support to his baby mama for the kid that he had when he was in high school, and his problems just kept compounding and compounding and compounding. And they were all self-inflicted wounds. He didn't pay his child support when he had a kid. He didn't show up to court when he got drunk and got into the accident. He didn't do this. He didn't do this. But it was somebody else's fault. It was the system's fault. And so Jimmy began developing that same mindset. Burn it down, eat the rich. When my wife and I bought this house in 2005. He said to me, "You sold out. You bought a house. You're part of the system." I sold out for buying a house for me and my family. At the time that we bought this house, we had a 3-month-old, a 6-month-old, and a 3-year-old. Our daughters Magnolia and Lily had already been born. Tommy was not even a thought process at that point in time, and my oldest daughter Ashley, who I didn't even know about, wasn't even something that we were aware of at the time. So to us, we were a family of 4, and we needed a place to live, and we bought this house. And for that, I sold out. Now, I've known Jimmy for a long time. We're no longer friends because Jimmy never grew up. Because to this day, Jimmy is still living in other people's basements or living on the street. For a while, he was living on a beach in a tent in Florida and pissing and moaning about how the system is always keeping him down. And I can't have people in my life that never grew up, so I jettisoned Jimmy. And we're no longer friends. But that mindset that he allowed to creep in, that mindset of somebody else is to blame for my lot in life, is what led him down this burn it all down and eat the rich mentality. And while he continues to bitch and moan about his lot in life and wanting to burn it all down and eat the rich, he's still living in some subterranean shithole somewhere, not liking his life, not doing anything to improve his life, while the people around him, the people who sold out, according to him, are enjoying their lives, are setting their kids up to make sure that they don't have to go through the same shit, are making sure that their kids have everything they need in order to get the proper education they need to go out and make something of themselves. That right there is evidence alone that that kind of mindset gets you nowhere. But okay, I'm the asshole because I'm the capitalist. I'm the asshole because I went out and I worked for a living and I fucking bought a house and a car and paid for my vacations and set my kids up. I'm the asshole. Fine. You want to burn it all down to the ground. And I'm not talking to my 2 daughters who share some of this mentality. I'm talking about the other people on the TikTok app that keep coming after me for having a capitalist mindset. You want to burn it all down and eat the rich. I made videos about this yesterday. What then? Okay, you've burned it down. The capitalist system, the democratic capitalist system is now gone. You've burned the system to the ground. You're done dining on the rich. Now what? You guys think that you're going to create this new country. My own daughter even said, I'm not listening to leftists. So here I am, listening to leftists. What then? What's going to happen once you get done burning it down to the ground? Which, by the way, is never going to happen. Never. So while everybody's bitching and moaning about wanting to burn it to the ground and dying on the rich, life is passing them by. Opportunities are passing them by. But let's say you do get the opportunity. Let's say all of those people on the TikTok app that keep coming after me from the far left finally get what they wanted and they burn the system to the ground. What then? I've heard people on TikTok say, well, then we create a new government. We replace this government with one that works for the people. How? You think everybody in the country is going to go along with your mindset? They're not. It's going to leave this country wide open to be taken over by a foreign power, or wide open to, even worse, be ruled by the folks on the right who are heavily armed and itching for an opportunity just like that to create some, once again, post-apocalyptic hellscape in which they can just start plugging people in the streets that they disagree with. Once you get done burning that system to the ground, then you got to go to war with those assholes. if you're not already at war with a foreign power for seeing that we brought our own system to its knees and now we're left vulnerable. Reality has to set in at some point in time. You got to figure out what the next phase is. Burn it to the ground, eat the rich. They're wonderful slogans. They fit nice on a t-shirt. They look good on a bumper sticker. It's very reminiscent of lock her up, build a wall. Simple slogans, easy to repeat, look good on a t-shirt. But what then? Tell me what the aftermath of burning it down and eating the rich is. I've said it before in other videos. Adulting is making difficult decisions. Adulting is making decisions that sometimes we don't like or want to make. And in 2016, we had a fucking decision to make. Vote for Hillary Clinton or vote for Donald Trump. And just enough people who would have normally voted for the Democratic candidate either voted for the other guy, wrote in somebody else's name, or abstained. Just enough people did those three things to allow the other guy to get into office. And now everybody's pissed off. I can't believe the Democrats didn't do anything to stop this. Yeah, they did. They put up a fucking candidate that you guys didn't want to fucking vote for. They put up a candidate that, even though you might not like all of her positions, would have never appointed Supreme Court justices that would have overturned Roe v. Wade. Would she have been a little bit more cozy with corporations than you like? Yes. Would she have been a little bit more war hawkish than you would have liked? Yes. Is she a little bit more of a centrist Democrat than you would have liked? Yes. Would she have appointed Supreme Court justices that would have overturned Roe v. Wade? No. Not in a million fucking years. So you guys would still be pissing and moaning about her corporatism or her war hawkish nature, but you wouldn't have lost your fucking rights to bodily autonomy. We wouldn't have millions of people in the streets trying to get back their basic freedoms had you just done the adult thing and voted for the Democratic nominee. And luckily, he was such a horrible fucking president, Trump, that enough people saw that that was that big of a mistake that 81 million people came out and voted for Joe fucking Biden. Of all people. If I had my dream choice of a candidate, it would have been Joe Biden. It would have been Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is one of the most qualified people to ever run for the presidency, and it still wouldn't have been either one of them. It would have been somebody young like Pete Buttigieg, who can communicate in a very effective manner with the people of this country, who's passionate but yet calm like Pete Buttigieg, who carry with them ideas of equality like Stacey Abrams, who give a shit about the economic future of our country and want to hold those above us accountable like Katie Porter. But 2020 was too big of an election to risk losing independents and moderates on, which is why I backed Uncle Joe, the calming candidate. The candidate that most people could look at and go, you know what, we can swallow this guy in office for 4 years in order to get rid of this fascist. But unfortunately, people needed to see what a fascist can do to this country before it dawned on them not to fucking do a protest vote again. Before it dawned on them that what they did in 2016 was what allowed this shit to happen. I know people right here in town who did protest votes, wrote Bernie in 2016, and then over the ensuing 4 years went, fuck, that was a mistake, my bad, never happen again. Biden, fine, I'll vote for him. Not my guy, but I'll vote for him. We got to get rid of this fascist. But the damage is already done. The damage is already done. We allowed fascists to take control and appoint lifetime Supreme Court justices that are now coming after Americans' rights. And the same people that don't like it didn't bother to try and stop that guy from getting into power to begin with. Sorry, you own it. You own it. Now it's time to grow up and realize that it's time to be a fucking adult. And it's time to work within the system. You're not going to burn the system down. And I'll tell you the same thing I told Asa. And once again, I like Asa. But I'm going to tell you the same thing I told Asa. Quit bitching about it. Quit talking about it. And put your fucking money where your mouth is. You want to burn the system to the ground? You want to talk about how you got matches? Then take your ass to your state capitol building and burn it to the fucking ground. Quit talking about it and fucking do it. We got to eat the rich. We got to burn the fucking system to the ground. Then take your ass over there and get it the fuck done. There are two types of people in this world. People who talk and people who do. Which one are you? Because right now, all I'm seeing is talking. Burn the system, burn the system, burn the system. Then go burn the fucking system. You don't, because you know what's going to happen. Within 10 minutes of you trying to do that, you're going to wind up in fucking jail, and you're going to ruin your lives and the lives of your family. Instead of working within the fucking system to change the system the way women did, the way black people did, the way gay people did, the way a number of marginalized people have done. Have they been easy fights? No. Have they been quick fights? No. Have the fights been won? Yes. And they can be won again. But not when a bunch of people say, well, this I don't like about the candidate, so I'm not going to vote for that fucking candidate. This I don't like about the candidate, so I'm not going to vote for that candidate. As a straight white man who's not trans, who can't have kids, gay rights doesn't personally affect me. Abortion rights doesn't personally affect me. The things that they're going after doesn't personally affect me. But yet I fight to try and get those things changed. I fight to try and prevent those things from happening for the people around me that I love, for my children, and now for my grandchildren. I thought it was going to be years until I had grandchildren. And then I wake up one day and I got 2 grandkids. I got 2 pretty great little grandkids. Who make me want to fight even harder within the system to make sure the system works for them in the future. I don't want to see the system burn to the ground. I want to see them living in a functioning society in future, but one that works for them. The way we were fighting to get it to work for them all these years. You go and burn it all down to the ground now, then everything that all of those people fought for is for naught. Yeah, I'm a capitalist. I'm a capitalist because I said I was never going to live the way I grew up. I was never going to have my children live the way I grew up. You're goddamn right I'm a capitalist. That's the system we have, and that's the system that allows us to make something of ourselves if we work hard enough. Yes, I get it. There are a lot of disadvantages to a lot of people. People of color, women, members of the LGBTQ plus community, which is why it's every bit more important for us, the people who these laws don't affect, to stand up and fight tooth and fucking nail for the system to work for those people around us that we love. Do you honestly think that if I thought a different system was going to be better for my kids and grandkids, that I wouldn't fight tooth and nail to get that system in place? I don't believe it is a better system. I don't believe burning it to the ground and starting with some kumbaya fucking moment where we're going to rewrite the Constitution to benefit all fucking people is actually the better system, is actually the realistic and better option out there. It's not. It's not. It's going to create an anarchical system that's going to allow some foreign power, some dictatorial foreign power, to come in and occupy us. And then we're going to be set back 1,000 years rather than 50 years. So, when it comes time to walk into a voting booth and vote, you might look down on that piece of paper and see a bunch of names that you don't necessarily agree with on everything across the board with a D next to their name. And some of you on the far left are going to have an initial response of, fuck that, the Democratic Party hasn't done anything. And let's get into that. I know we're 26 minutes into this video, but fuck it, it's a YouTube video at this point in time. The fuck do you want the Democratic Party to do? Codify Roe through legislation. Yeah, and what happens when Mitch McConnell takes over the Senate again and just passes a law that nullifies that law? You're willing to make abortion rights a lobbying point back and forth from election cycle to election cycle. Once again, there is a reason why all the times that Mitch McConnell held the levers of power in the Senate, he never once passed a law making abortion illegal in this country. Do you know why? Because as evil as Mitch McConnell is, as spiteful as Mitch McConnell is, as bad as Mitch McConnell is, he's a brilliant politician. And he knows that that's a waste of fucking time. That's why the Republicans fought so hard to get it cemented at the Supreme Court level, because that's where this kind of change gets locked into place for a generation. You pass it through legislation, it's going to be like tax laws. They raise taxes, they lower taxes. They raise taxes, they lower taxes. It's a fucking volleyball, back and forth and back and forth. You want to do that with women's rights? Because that's all that's going to happen. Not to mention the fact, the people that are bitching and moaning that the Democrats don't do it now, you're not going to get it with this Democratic majority. Joe Manchin is the 50th vote. You need, if you blew up the filibuster today, you need 50 votes plus the tiebreaker. We've got the tiebreaker in Kamala. You don't have the 50 fucking votes. Why? Because Democrats didn't show up in enough numbers to give Joe Biden enough of a vote cushion in the Senate. We didn't give him 52, 53, 54, 55 senators. We gave him 50. And we made Joe Manchin the 50th vote. Joe Manchin, who is never going to vote to codify Roe v. Wade. Never. Well, they didn't do it in the last 40 years either. You're right, because it's a fucking waste of time. All it's going to do is cause the Democrats to make that their number one campaign issue, and when they get into power, make it the number one bill they pass. Doing away with that bill. And oh, by the way, let's talk about the filibuster. You want to do away with the filibuster? First of all, you need Joe Manchin to sign on to that. Never going to happen. But let's just say you could get Joe Manchin to sign on to that. And you got 50 votes plus the tiebreaker to do away with the filibuster. You think Joe Manchin's going to vote to legalize abortion? No. You think Joe Manchin's going to vote to expand the courts? No. You couldn't even get Joe Manchin to vote on $15 an hour minimum wage. Now all of a sudden you think Joe Manchin's going to go along with all of our ideas because we, did away with the filibuster? It's fucking fantasy land. So you want to do away with the filibuster to not get all of the things that you want and then risk handing a filibuster-free Senate back to the Republicans and Mitch McConnell. You have any fucking idea the damage the Republicans would do to this country if they didn't have the filibuster? At some point in time, reality's got to kick in. At some point in time, reality has to kick in, and you've got to get past the emotional part of all of it. And you got to figure out how to work within the system to change it. We did it once before. We got Roe cemented as federally protected at the Supreme Court level because we busted our ass and we made sure we elected politicians who were going to appoint people to the Supreme Court who were going to protect women's rights. And then over the course of the last 50 years, people went back to that whole anarchist, burn it down, we got to fucking eat the rich mentality, and we can't fucking vote for that person, and allowed them to fucking strip it away again. You think I'm not compassionate about it? You think I'm not emotional about it? I have 3 daughters, 2 grandchildren, and a wife whose rights have now been taken away from them. I'm pissed at the far left. I'm pissed at every fucking person that switched their vote from Bernie to fucking Trump. I'm pissed at everybody who wrote Bernie in or who abstained because, oh my God, it's Hillary Clinton. We can't possibly have her in office. Every one of those people voted to take their own fucking rights away and voted to take the rights away of my family members. Sooner or later, reality has to kick in. Being an adult has to kick in. And you got to look around you and go, you know what? These 2 decisions are really bad options, but only one of them is actually going to come close to doing what I want to get done. And the other one is going to be a complete fucking disaster for me, my kids, and the future of this nation. And you got to make the adult decision. When I was younger, I had the same type of mentality. Burn it down, man. Well, fuck it. We can do this better than they can. Fuck yeah, anarchy, baby. And then I grew up. It's time to grow up. Yelling and screaming into your phone in a passionate manner about everything that happened is understandable. And then it's time to get beyond that, harness that fucking energy, harness that emotion, and turn it into action within the system. Because it's the only way you're ever going to enact change. And as long as you fucking people continue with your protest votes, continue with your abstaining from presidential elections because you don't like either one of the fucking candidates, you're going to continue to get shit like this. You want to know why? Because the other side organizes. The other side is singular in thought. We need to get rid of this. And so that's how they vote. And the other side comes out to every fucking election. Local elections, they flood the polls. Midterms, they flood the polls. Presidential elections, they flood the polls. While I don't know if I'm going to go or not. I don't know if I want to. I don't know. Both of them seem like kind of shitty candidates, so I don't know if I'm going to waste my time. While the other side is in there making sure they're voting for people who are going to take your fucking rights away from you. And if you don't think voting rights is going to be on the chopping block after gay rights and after sodomy and after contraception, you're not fucking paying attention, because that's what they're coming after next. They're coming after your right to vote. So go ahead and keep calling me the asshole for being the capitalist that works within the system. But at the end of the day, of the 2 of us who are arguing, I'm the only one who's actually voting for people who are trying to protect those rights. While you guys are issuing your fucking protest votes and allowing people like Donald Trump to get into office. Grow the fuck up.